So without further ado, I'd like to ask Danielle to share a few words. Following Danielle's speech about leadership, we're going to open up the floor for questions and answers. After that, we'll have dinner. Everyone's welcome to, and then we'll have our mentor hour. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you, What's this fancy little doohickey right here? Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. How are you? So my name is Danielle Tomassetti, formerly Danielle Weinstein, and I was asked to speak today by Rabbi Yaakov Greenberg, and I'm honored to share my experiences as they relate to leadership. I had hoped to have a speech practiced and fully prepared for you guys, but you caught me in a very challenging week. All of my family members have called on me with illness. They are being helped now, but I'm depleted and a bit tired and not my best self. But this is really, truly perfect, because a leader is okay with showing up however they need to and being real and who they are. Being imperfect is the way we should all be okay with ourselves showing up. It's not about being perfect. What really inspires people is seeing all the different sides of somebody. Leadership is such a grand word. I began to think about the topic and how it's navigated me through situations even when I didn't realize it was navigating me. I started to make random notes on my phone, jotting down thoughts and pointers that I perhaps wanted to share with you all. A few days later, I sat down to learn about the Solomon program, and I noticed how my notes and experiences aligned with many of your pillars. It was like looking through a looking glass at the many things I had learned and knew and saying in my head, yes, yes, that's it. There's a common theme here. The common theme is that the leadership runs inside of you. It exists in who you are. It's your chutzpah. Now, I took a moment to look up the origin of this word. The original Yiddish word had a negative connotation, but it took on a broader meaning in the American English language. In business parlance, it means your courage or your good audacity. So, find your chutzpah, your courage, your good audacity, and lead from that space, lead from an inspiring space. By definition, you can only be a leader if you have followers. And people will only follow you if they fear you or they respect you. They will only want to follow you if you inspire them. So how do we grow ourselves in ways that inspire others? This is where true self-work comes into play. It isn't an easy path forward, and you will need to learn from others, lean on others, and believe in yourself truly. A little bit about me. I'm a mom of twin 7-year-old boys and a wife to a very hardworking businessman. I give tons of love and gratitude for my family unit. It took me forever to settle down with a partner. I was very picky and meticulous in finding the type of charactered person that I would want to walk by my side. After all, you are who you associate yourself with, and you must always remember that. It has been 8 years since my last corporate job, and when I sat down to write a biography for Solomon's website, I had to look back on all my careers and valuable hats that I wore and try to put them into a nice, neat, concise document. I ended with a very full one-page document, carefully spaced paragraphs, shrunk into 11 fonts so it would fit without looking like the font was too small, only to look back and realize that I forgot an entire career. That's okay. Over the years, I was a lawyer, entrepreneur in clothing design, had a successful yoga business. I excelled in high-end automotive sales, which was a ton of fun, but very challenging. I'm now a landlord that actively manages 6 properties, and more recently, I've immersed myself in growing as an equestrian, running a donation vegetable stand, and now operating and building from the ground up an equine rescue. As you can see, I've held a lot of titles, but one of the biggest roles that I've held during all these stages of life was the role of being a student. Always being a student will truly inspire you and empower you to grow. I don't think that I set out to be a leader. I truthfully don't even look at myself as a leader, but I do look at myself as a student. I have been a student of life since I began my journey in my mother's womb. And I will never be too old or too smart to stop learning. I learned these leadership qualities through a path that had many twists and turns, steps forward and back, risks and uncertainties. You really have to get comfortable with getting knocked down. It's important to talk about failures. Now, when I wrote that word down, failures, it felt very heavy. It didn't feel like the right word. So let's reframe these moments in our life as lessons and challenges, and try that as we walk forward to treat what once felt like a failure as a lesson or an opportunity to do better. A valuable skill that you can use to train yourself is the power of thought. It can change how you navigate lessons and challenges. The quote from Lao Tzu rings very true. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, for it can become your destiny. The power of thought should always be your first step in any situation. And if you notice yourself straying and not knowing what direction to go and thinking in a way that you don't think is positive, stop yourself, pause yourself, force yourself to think of a positive thought. That is your first step out of any situation. Let's think about babies for a minute. When they are young, if they fall down, they hit their heads. So, people are always saying, oh, watch their head. They just don't have the strength to hold it up yet. But with each fall, they get stronger. They learn to hold their heads up with muscle memory. Then they learn to protect themselves with their hands. Humans literally start falling at the same time as we learn to walk. It's like they go hand in hand. If you want to stay on your path to being a great leader, you must recognize that you will fall down and get back up. And you have to find a willingness to just put one foot in front of the other, even in times you can't walk. One little step. This lesson was a great one for me. In 2009, I had a pretty bad car accident. It left me injured and unable to walk for at least 6 months of my life. I had trouble watching my thoughts during that time. I was laying in bed, I was on heavy medications, and as a result, my habits were starting to form and they were not helping me to heal. It's very easy when you're in a situation where your health is compromised and you're on medicine to lose the power of thought. Thank God for my foundation and my family. The closest people encouraged me to find my positive voice from within and empowered me to walk again. I will never forget the day on the Long Branch Boardwalk when I made it from 7 Presidents all the way to West End. I had been trying for 2 months. That day felt so great. I had overcome a great hurdle and learned that the power of thought and getting back up when I fell down carried me to my finish line. So let your thoughts be the start of your strength and use them to shift how you handle challenges. When I look back on my younger years, I see many lessons I learned in persevering and moving forward. Being a student is something that we are all born into. We're babies, we have our parents teaching us, we have the world teaching us, and we have ourselves teaching us. The self-teacher is a component that is very special. It is our character. It's what we're born with, and it's unique to all of us. It's up to us to then learn within our character what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses. What areas do you need to improve on to improve your overall character? I remember when I was 3 years old, I was at my birthday. This is probably one of my earlier memories. And somebody in my family bought me a red car. It was like red on the bottom with the yellow top. It was plastic. It was my first car. It was amazing. I got in it. I put my hands on the steering wheel and I was like, this is it. I can go anywhere that I want to go. Also, nobody's coming in the car with me and I'm not getting out of it. And so for my entire 3rd birthday party, I never let anyone in and I never got out. Looking back, I realized that I had a huge drive from a very young age, but I had to learn to share and include others. I had to grow my character. In my early years, my family had some particularly hard challenges that definitely grew my character. When I was 8 years old, my dad successfully battled a heroin addiction. This was a very hard time for me and my family. I had to rely heavily on the people around me to empower me to grow strong. My mom was my backbone. I also had a few close teachers in school who helped me learn how to communicate hard feelings and navigate through rough waters. That's something that I've taken with me all through my life. I also learned that bad decision-making can really hurt others around you, so be mindful. In my later years as a high school and college student, I started to hone in on visions and strategize ways to inspire others. I became part of various community service programs, and during high school, when school violence was prevalent in the news, I chose to work with my student council to create a lock-in. We spent the night in our school with all the student body, raising awareness and participating in healthy activities to unite students. We discussed sound judgment, working together to foster a safer environment in schools. And by unifying my classmates, we became stronger. We felt as though we stood together. Once I started my first jobs, whether it was waitressing or hostessing, I learned that being successful meant showing up every day and giving it your all. This takes persistence. Not all days are good days. So what do you do on a bad day? You get up, you dress up, you show up. And if you can just do that, you're already ahead of the curve. Try to dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Give yourself permission to be great. Greatness lies in every single one of you. It lies in all of us. Everyone excels in certain areas more than others, so find where the people around you excel and explore that quality in them. Be curious, learn from the strengths of your peers, and surround yourself with people that inspire you. When I interned for Corcoran Real Estate Group during college, I spent a few summers working out in the Hamptons. I learned a lot by observing. I was working for the CEO, and she had her family and lots of employees with her. And what I noticed was these people were driven, motivated, and they included others. They included everybody in their events. They made life exciting, even when it was discussing business and work, and they took the opportunities that came their way and made the most of them. It was really awesome to experience powerful people and learn from their characteristics. So I started to have some chutzpah, some good audacity. And my stepdad told me, take risks when you're young because you have less counting on you at that time in life. If you see something you want, you have to try and go for it, Danielle. Take the risk. Well, he inspired me to go to law school. I wasn't sure of my plan after college, and he suggested I was good at arguing and smart, so why not go for a law degree? My stepdad is a doctor, and aside from him, the rest of my family did not even go to college, so this was a huge step for me. Law school was not an easy time. I did not come from a prep school, and scholastic discipline was not my strongest suit by any means. I only did enough to get by. But I knew with positive thinking and persistence, I could make the best of an amazing opportunity to grow and learn. I went into it with an internal knowing that even if it wasn't the career for me, the education that I received would be a stepping stone to great things. So if you find yourself somewhere in life that isn't the perfect place for you to expand and grow, take it for what it's worth. Take the tools from it that you can so that you keep them in your toolbox and you can use them. During law school, I donated time to CASA, and this was very meaningful. CASA is a court-appointed supervising advocate. Basically, you're responsible for ensuring that foster children are placed in a home that is serving and meeting their best interests. Here I was in law school, feeling like I came from less and I wasn't good enough. And then I saw there are people with a lot less. And they don't feel that way. They feel like they can make it all the same. You must learn that someone is always going to have less than you and someone is always going to have more than you. But that is not what defines a person. Some people let comparing themselves to others stop them from standing in their true power. It really doesn't matter what you do or you don't have. It's what you do with every day and every moment that counts. This was a huge shift for me in how I approached people and situations. I started to come from humility, from love, and from gratitude. I want to jump back here to this entire idea of leading by inspiring, by learning from those around you, becoming relatable and humble. And I'm going to use a horse analogy because I'm a horse girl. The alpha horse is in charge of the herd and its safety. So when they want the other horses, oh, and by the way, Rabbi, you basically said this when you were up here, so I was like, oh, here he goes, pulling from my speech. So when they want another horse in their herd to move, they will stand beside it or behind it and encourage the movement forward. They are never the first one out. If they go too far in front out of the herd, they will lose them behind them. They won't see what's going on. This is true in leadership. It's better to lead from behind or within by setting the example, encouraging others forward, and including them. It's a little easier for horses to share a common goal because they're prey animals, so safety and food is their main focus. Humans are definitely more complex. So then comes trying to understand and strategize ways to display a behavior or support an idea in a way that will make others want to mimic you. You have to determine what your goal is and then figure out what you need to emanate out to others so that they will share your goal or support you on that path. This idea of achieving a goal truly requires you to stand in a space of strength and knowledge. Getting to that space means you must always be growing, evolving, and caring for yourself. Caring for yourself is not always easy. Putting yourself first on tough days can be very hard. I like to think of one thing that makes me feel good and commit to it on my schedule so that I stay healthy in my mind and my body. Sometimes it's as simple as I'm gonna make myself a cup of tea. Whatever it is that makes you feel good, put it on your calendar. Take care of your mind and your body, because without that, you're not going to inspire others to follow you. When we talk about growing ourselves and becoming a leader, we can look at ourselves like a building. First, we lay the framework, then we pour the concrete and fill in our framework to create our foundation. Then we add floors and walls, we add a roof, and then we start to fill our rooms up. Like a building has give, so it doesn't collapse from wind or external factors, it's important for us to have give so we don't break. This means we drop our egos. It means we remain flexible enough to take on different weather and persevere through a variety of circumstances. Remember, you want to bend and give so that you don't break. My building really came together when I built the courage to leave law and become a yoga instructor. I had all this great foundation, but I didn't have much soul or passion. I wasn't filling up the rooms in my building. I started my yoga journey, and I started to receive some profound lessons. It tested me physically and mentally. I don't know if anyone here has been in a yoga class and felt like their body is like tight or stuck. And then you hear the teacher say, just breathe. And you realize, I can't breathe. I can't access my breath. I don't feel comfortable. Well, let that be lesson number one in who you are and where you are. Breath. Breath is life. It is our give, our sway. It fills us up and it helps us to function better. Let's do this. Everybody close your eyes. Place your hands on your lap or your belly, whatever feels good, and sit up nice and tall. Put your feet on the ground and just take a moment. Keep your eyes closed. Take a deep breath into your belly. Open your mouth and let your breath out. We're gonna do that one more time because nobody has any breath. Take a deep breath into your belly. Really fill it up like it's the last breath you get. Open your mouth and HA, let it out. You can open your eyes. Do you feel any different? Is anybody chuckling or giggling or feeling a little bit more relaxed? This is a strategy. It's a tool. It can settle you. It can ground you. It can make you feel better. So take that tool in your toolbox. If you end up in a situation where you feel uncomfortable or unsure, close your eyes, feel the ground beneath your feet, and take an actual breath. We were given breath so that we can live. Now, I also learned in yoga that Sanskrit is a vibrational language. And what's amazing is so is Hebrew. The letters and the sounds have a frequency that can lift the energy up in a room. It was said from the beginning that Aleph Bet is a set of living letters. So in times of anxiety or turmoil, sing. We do this all the time. Sing with your peers, sing with the rabbi, sing, or just listen to vibrational music. This is another tool to put in your toolbox when you're not feeling so great. It will lift you up. I learned also in yoga, walk gently. Don't stomp around. Why are you stomping on the earth? The earth doesn't want to be stomped on. Notice how you step. Step gently through life, and you'll start to see that things come back to you that you didn't expect to come back to you. And last but not least, be in the moment, truly present in everything you're doing. So if you're showing up, make the best of your time. Your time is very valuable. How blessed was I to find these tools in my yoga career and take them with me into my sales career, two completely different worlds. Car sales was a tough industry. It was a man's world. I encountered a ton of manipulation, lying, cheating, stealing, and people trying to stomp me down. I had to use all my experiences and all my tools and stay completely focused on showing up and doing my job. I swayed with the breeze just like a building, and I stayed grounded in my foundation. I learned that the early bird gets the worm, and I learned to get my hands dirty. It was grunt work. You have to put in what you want to get out. It doesn't just come. I had a lot of success during this career, but it was born from hard work. I set off to live in my own apartment in about 2014, which is right around the time that Rabbi and I started to get to know each other. And in 2015, my apartment set fire in Ocean Grove, and it burned to the ground with everything in it. Now, this was my first apartment, so I didn't have renter's insurance, and I was just starting out in life. But more importantly than all the belongings in it, my doggie was in there. His name was Buddha, and he was lost, and I loved him dearly. I walked away with nothing but the clothes on my back and whatever was in my car. And even though the pain in my heart for the loss of my dog was almost more than I could take, there was something about that time. I was more me than I ever was and ever will be. All the noise got quiet. I realized I have everything I need right here. Nothing belongs to us. Not our parents, not our children, nothing. And tomorrow is not promised. So you really do have to make the most of today. That gave me this huge freedom. I could go and do whatever I wanted. I didn't have to worry about the things that were somehow holding me down before that. So I started traveling with Bentley. I was doing sales for them, and I grew into a top sales associate in Manhattan, working with Bentley, Bugatti, and Lamborghini. It was so much fun. It was an awesome time. I met my husband, I became pregnant, and I stepped away from my job. That brings us to present day. In present day, outside of my family, I am running a rescue barn, the donation vegetable stand. I train 3 show horses, which takes an abundance of my time, and I manage 6 rental properties and a condo association. This is a lot. I have hit tons of roadblocks to get to everything up and running. I know that I'm managing multiple businesses, but I didn't take them all on at once. Each layer came with time and experience. And I've made mistakes, a ton of them, but this is how you learn and grow, through those mistakes. So my rescue farm is in Atlantic Highlands. It's called Buddha Barn, after my dog Buddha. We have 16 equine, horses, donkeys, a zebra donkey. We've got bunny rabbits, cows, chickens, a peacock, and a pheasant soon. It takes a ton of time and a ton of work to manage my employees and make the space safe for the animals and also safe to welcome in community volunteers. But what's happening is really beautiful. I had my first family day this past fall, and 250 people showed up. I wasn't exactly expecting that, but it was a wonderful day. Some of the hurdles that I've encountered dealt with learning how to navigate managing homes and structures, getting permits, dealing with insurance companies, navigating all the red tape that's put in place by municipalities. In the farm world in particular, I've learned about saving my land, preserving my paddocks, so one might have to rest so the grass regrows, and one might be in use. It's managing resources in a way that won't disrupt the animals. It's been a wild and rewarding journey. One last story comes to my mind before I start to conclude. About 2 years ago, my twins were 4, and I started to feel like my cup was overflowing. I was finally managing being a mom, because being a mom is the hardest job ever. But I realized that I was feeling good about it, and I needed to do something to spread love, to spread growth, to give back. And so I started a veggie stand next to my house. And shortly after I put my beautiful sign up, one of my neighbors complained. And I got a letter from the township shutting me down because my area was not zoned for business. I truly felt that this complaint was born from the wrong space, certainly not a person viewing things with love and support. And I felt that what I was doing had merit and value. So I started to research, and it turns out that New Jersey law supports children being entrepreneurs, and that's exactly what we were doing. My kids were picking the snow peas. My kids were digging the vegetables, and they were getting like $5 in allowance as a result of it. I wanted them to understand that the food that we put on our tables and in our bellies, it doesn't just appear. People work to grow it, and your families work to make money to buy it. So these things don't just come. This is getting your hands dirty, real life, real work. You put that in, and then things start to come back. Set up some meetings with the township. I talked to them about the New Jersey laws that were in place to support what I was doing. And today, we operate as a donation vegetable stand with a smaller sign to make my neighbors happy, and that is no problem for me. We basically allow people to come and pay what they would like or not pay at all, and any vegetables that are left over get donated to lunch break. I feel like this situation called on tons of pillars of leadership for me to be like, okay, I'm not giving up. There's another way around. And that's one of the big lessons. You're going to hit roadblocks. It's up to you to be like, I'm not going to get discouraged. This is a lesson or a challenge. Let me shift my thought and try to find a different path. It's no surprise that our session today is on general leadership, and that's what Rabbi asked me to come and speak on. My life path has had tons of twists and turns and has taught me so much in so many areas. It's kind of like that Iron Man scene where he's like, and he gets this like big cauliflower web of like all his ideas up here, and then he sucks them down. My journeys, my careers, my hats, my roles, my life, they're all over here. And then they come together for me. And so then when I meet something new in life and I'm like, how do I approach this? I call on all these different components of knowledge and experience, and I try to apply them to each situation. I saved all of my little jotted down notes before writing a comprehensive speech. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just read these bullet points out to you. You can take notes, you can write them down, you can ask me questions. They might feel good and they might not, so try them on for size. Patience, perseverance, and the ability to pivot. Conserve your energy and find solo time. Compartmentalize. Efficiency is so important. Efficiency with your time and your resources. It makes you effective. Find what you love and learn to believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself, you give yourself permission to make hard decisions. Immoral or bad decisions almost always come back to haunt you. Intuition and judgment. Nothing in its extreme. Use good judgment to make good decisions. Take the road less traveled. Wear many shoes. Become proficient in many areas. Don't just be a student. Be an inquisitive student. Don't waste precious time on mediocrity. Be fully engaged in the ways you choose to spend your time. You will experience times of abundance, times of stagnation, and times of loss. Sit with each one. There should always be a giving back. This is the natural order of things. Loss and acquisition, giving and receiving. Think about the moon, the tides, the season. There is always a giving and receiving. Don't be discouraged by this. Nature's cycle is death, birth, and growth. Are you expanding or are you contracting? Try not to shrink when you go inward. Be driven every day. Often people will ask how I do so much in a day. Schedule and use up all of your time. And sleep when you need to. Having a support system and people to bounce ideas off of will help you. Talk it out. Find a balance of social connection and protecting your energy. Look at each opportunity with a fresh set of eyes. Don't bring in predisposed notions. Challenge your way of thinking. Take chances. It's easier when you're young because you don't have as many people counting on you. 2 questions that the rabbi sent to me that I wanted to answer. One of the hardest things I've had to do as a leader is leave situations that weren't serving me. Times of change can feel lonely and uncertain, but you must follow your intuition. Every season I work on my leadership. I work on my leadership in how I care for myself, how I love myself and love others, and how I grow. And I remind myself that if I'm not feeling enough love, then I'm not putting enough out. So instead of getting down, I just put more out, and it comes back. The single most important thing about a leader, leadership comes from love. You must come from a space of love and stand behind what you're doing. Rise above, persevere, get back up, and fall down. This is where you learn the most. Thank you.